Cancer. Someone is thinking about you tonight in a way that would make you a little uncomfortable if you knew the details. Not in a threatening way, not in an unhealthy way, in the way that people think about someone who mattered to them and never got a chance to explain why. If you've been feeling a pressure lately, a kind of low frequency hum in your chest that has no clear origin, this reading might explain part of it, because the near future is bringing something to your attention that you thought was behind you. Hi, and welcome back. I'm so glad you're here today. Before we start, I want to gently remind you that this reading is designed for reflection, self awareness, and personal insight. It's not a substitute for professional advice. So please always trust your own inner guidance above anything I share here today. All right, Cancer. This reading has a specific tone. This isn't the type of reading where the cards want you to check off a to-do list of expectations. This is a reading where the cards want you to sit down, take a breath, and be honest with yourself. Because the near future your cards are showing you today is not about tasks or milestones or achievements. It's about something quieter. It's about a truth that's been circling in the background of your life, waiting for the right moment to come forward. And Cancer, that moment is closer than you may realize. Let's move into this with intention. I'm going to draw the first three cards together. I want you to look at them as a triangle before we unpack them individually. Our first three cards are the Moon, the Six of Swords, and the King of Cups. Cancer, that combination is very intentional. It's not accidental. It's speaking to a specific emotional current happening in your life. The kind of emotional current that runs so deeply beneath the surface that even you may not fully understand it yet. So let's begin. Let's start with the Moon. In Cancer, I want you to feel this card as I explain it, because the Moon isn't a card you interpret with logic. The Moon is a card you feel. The Moon represents the intuitive, unconscious, subconscious mind. The part of you that senses shifts before you can name them. The part of you that dreams strange dreams and doesn't know why. The part of you that walks into a room and instantly reads the energy without a single conscious thought. Cancer, the Moon in your near future is telling me that something in your subconscious mind is trying to reach you. Something you've been avoiding, or something you've been misinterpreting, or something you've been quietly buried underneath your responsibilities. And Cancer, listen carefully to this next part, because this is important. As a water sign ruled by the Moon, your emotional currents run deeper than most can grasp. And that depth is precisely why you have a very close relationship with your subconscious mind. You often know things before you understand them. You sense things before you can explain them. You feel shifts in your environment days before other people notice them. Your intuition is one of your most powerful tools. And the Moon is showing me that your intuition is coming alive in a very specific way in your near future. There is something you are being asked to acknowledge. It may show up as a repeated dream. It may show up as an emotional response to something you can't fully name. It may show up as a sudden awareness that a certain thought pattern doesn't belong to you anymore. There's a psychological concept called subconscious integration. It refers to the process by which a person begins bringing subconscious material, memories, patterns, unresolved emotions into conscious awareness in order to integrate it into their identity. Research shows that subconscious integration is one of the most powerful mechanisms for growth in adulthood. The Moon is telling me that your near future is going to be a period of subconscious integration for you, Cancer. Something you've been carrying at the edges of your awareness is going to come forward. And when it does, you're going to have the opportunity to understand yourself in a way you haven't before. A practical suggestion here. Sometime in the next couple of weeks, pay very close attention to your dreams. Keep a note next to your bed. Write down anything you remember, even fragments. The Moon speaks through symbols, and your dreams are one of the most direct pathways to the truths your subconscious is trying to reveal. Now let's move to the second card, which is the Six of Swords. This card, Cancer, is one of the most emotionally accurate cards in the entire deck. It represents a transition from difficulty into calmer waters. It's often depicted as a figure being ferried across a river. leaving something behind, moving towards something new. The Six of Swords in your near future is telling me that you are moving through a quiet emotional transition. And Cancer, this movement is real. It's not something you're imagining. It's not something you're overreacting to. It's not something you're making up in your head. You are actively moving out of a version of your life that has been weighing you down and into a version that has more space, more clarity, and more peace. However, Cancer, transitions like this rarely feel triumphant in the moment. They feel confusing, they feel bittersweet, they feel like you're leaving behind something familiar for something you can't fully see yet. And that emotional ambiguity is the true nature of the Six of Swords. It's not about celebrating a breakthrough. It's about honoring the quiet act of choosing to move forward, even when you don't know exactly where you're going. There's a psychological concept called transitional grief. It refers to the mix of emotions that arise when a person leaves behind a phase of life, even when leaving is the healthiest choice. Research shows that transitional grief is one of the most under-acknowledged emotional experiences in adulthood. People rarely recognize it because they're too busy focusing on the new chapter. Cancer. The Six of Swords is telling me you may be experiencing transitional grief right now, even if you cannot name it, even if you keep pushing yourself to just be grateful, even if you keep telling yourself that the change is good. The truth is, transitions have layers. Some layers are hopeful, some are quietly aching, and you're allowed to feel both. A practical suggestion for this card: give yourself permission to acknowledge what you're leaving behind. Sit with it for a moment, not to dwell on it, but to honor it, because the emotional maturity of the Six of Swords is the ability to say, this mattered, and I'm choosing to move forward anyway. And now, our third card in this trio, the King of Cups. Cancer, the King of Cups is one of the most emotionally mature cards in the entire tarot deck. He represents emotional wisdom, deep understanding, compassion, self mastery, and the kind of quiet strength that only comes from having lived through something and processed it. In your near future, this card is showing me one of two possibilities. Either a wise, emotionally grounded person is going to enter your life or offer you insight in some meaningful way, or you are being invited to embody the King of Cups within yourself. Cancer, honestly, I feel both. But the deeper meaning here is the second. You are being asked to step into your own emotional mastery. Not perfection, not stoicism, not hiding your feelings, but mastery. The kind of emotional maturity that allows you to feel deeply without being consumed. The kind of self-awareness that allows you to recognize your triggers before they take over. The kind of internal strength that lets you respond, not react. Cancer, this is something you already have inside you, but your near future is going to bring you situations that ask you to strengthen it further. There's a concept in psychology called emotional differentiation. It refers to the ability to distinguish between complex emotional states and understand their meaning clearly. Research shows that emotional differentiation is one of the strongest predictors of emotional intelligence and long-term life satisfaction. The King of Cups is telling me that your emotional differentiation is deepening. You're gaining more clarity about what your feelings mean. You're beginning to recognize patterns you didn't see before. You're becoming more skilled at responding to your emotional life with wisdom rather than habit. Here's a practical suggestion for the King of Cups. When you feel a strong emotion arise, take a moment to name it as precisely as you can. Not just, I'm upset, but I'm feeling something in me that resembles disappointment mixed with quiet resentment. Or I'm feeling something that resembles hope mixed with cautious skepticism. The more precisely you name your emotions, the more clearly you will be able to move through them. So look at what these three cards are telling you. The moon is asking you to pay attention to what's rising from your subconscious. The Six of Swords is honoring the quiet transition you're moving through. And the King of Cups is inviting you to deepen your emotional mastery. Cancer, this is a beautiful and meaningful trio, and it's the emotional foundation of everything else your near future is about to reveal. Let's continue. All right, Cancer, let's pull the next three cards together. Our next three cards are the Wheel of Fortune, the Nine of Wands, and the Queen of Pentacles. Cancer, this combination is very interesting because it moves the story of your reading from the emotional interior into the more external environment. If the first three cards were about what's happening inside of you, these next three are about what's happening around you and how you're being called to interact with it. Let's walk through them. Let's begin with the Wheel of Fortune. And I want to slow down here because this card is one of the most misunderstood in the deck. Most people associate the Wheel of Fortune with luck, but the deeper meaning is about the natural cycles of change that shape your life. Change that isn't caused by you doing something specifically. Change that arises because your life is turning to face a new season. Cancer, in your near future, something in your external circumstances is going to shift. Not violently, not chaotically, but undeniably. It might involve a subtle change in someone else's behavior toward you. It might involve a new opportunity that quietly enters the field of your awareness. It might involve a role change in your work life, family life, or community life. It might involve something ending that you've been holding on to because the door for the next thing is opening. Cancer, the Wheel of Fortune is telling me that your external world is beginning to move with you rather than resist you, which is a very important shift because for a while it may have felt like you were pushing against your circumstances or working against a current that didn't want to cooperate. The wheel is telling me the current is beginning to turn in your favor. There's a psychological concept called environmental congruence. It refers to the state where a person's inner life begins to align with the external circumstances around them. Research shows that environmental congruence is one of the strongest predictors of long term flow, satisfaction, and positive momentum. Cancer, you're entering a period of environmental congruence, and this is not a small thing. This is one of the most stabilizing shifts a person can experience. A practical suggestion here: pay attention to sudden shifts around you, a door opening, someone reconnecting, a change in someone's tone, a small opportunity arriving. These are the fingerprints of the Wheel of Fortune, and they will guide you in the right direction if you're paying attention. Now let's move to the Nine of Wands. Cancer, this card carries a weight that I want to acknowledge before I unpack it, because when I look at it in your reading, I feel the presence of everything you've already been through. The Nine of Wands is the card of endurance. It shows a figure leaning on their wand, tired, watchful, guarded, but still standing. And it typically shows up in the life of someone who has been through more than they fully acknowledged. Cancer, this card is telling me that your near future is going to invite you to recognize how much you've already survived. Not in a difficult way, not in a heavy way, but in a way that finally gives you permission to name the weight you've been carrying. There's a psychological concept called resilience recognition. It refers to the process by which a person begins to fully understand the emotional and mental resources they use to survive their past challenges. Research shows that resilience recognition is one of the most healing experiences a person can go through because it helps them see themselves as strong rather than only tired. Cancer, the Nine of Wands is essentially saying to you, you have been strong for a very long time, and your near future is going to invite you to acknowledge that quietly, honestly, and gently. However, I want to also acknowledge something else the Nine of Wands is showing me. This card sometimes represents a person who has become emotionally guarded because of what they've been through. Cancer, that may be part of your inner landscape right now. You may have quietly built walls without realizing it, walls that once protected you, walls that may no longer be necessary. And the near future is going to gently show you which walls are still serving you and which ones are ready to be softened. A practical suggestion for the Nine of Wands: when you notice yourself feeling defensive, guarded, or emotionally distant, ask yourself, is this protecting me right now? Or is this a leftover pattern from something I no longer need to guard against? That one question can transform how you relate to yourself in this next chapter. And now, our third card in this trio, the Queen of Pentacles. Cancer, this card is going to speak directly to your natural sensibility. The Queen of Pentacles represents grounded, nurturing, practical wisdom, resourcefulness, and the ability to create stability in every environment she enters. And Cancer, that's already such a big part of who you are. But the near future is going to invite you to step even more fully into this energy. In your near future, this card is telling me that your capacity to create stability is going to be called forward, whether in your own life or in the lives of the people around you. You're being asked to become the calm center of the environments you move through, not because you're responsible for everything, but because your presence has that natural grounding effect. There's a concept in psychology called co-regulation. It refers to the way one person's calm, grounded nervous system can help stabilize the nervous systems of the people around them. Research shows that co-regulation is one of the most powerful forms of emotional influence a person can offer. And Cancer, you are naturally gifted in this. Your energy has always had a way of grounding people. The Queen of Pentacles is telling me that in your near future, this energy is going to be needed more than usual. But she's also telling me that you have to protect it. You cannot pour into others what you have not first cultivated in yourself. Meaning the near future is going to invite you to strengthen your own foundation before you continue offering it to others. A practical suggestion for the Queen of Pentacles. Take one small action in the next few days that reinforces your own foundation, whether that's cleaning a corner of your home, tending to your finances, cooking yourself a meal, or spending time in nature. These small acts are what strengthen your ability to be the stable presence you naturally are. So look at the story these three cards are telling. The Wheel of Fortune is shifting your external circumstances. The Nine of Wands is honoring your resilience. And the Queen of Pentacles is reminding you of the grounded presence you carry into every space. This is a really meaningful trio for you, Cancer. And it prepares you beautifully for the final three cards, which are going to close this reading with clarity, purpose, and quiet emotional integrity. All right, Cancer, let's pull the last three cards. And I want you to take a breath before we begin, because these final three cards close the arc of your reading in a way that I really want you to receive with your full presence. Our final three cards are Justice, the Ten of Cups, and the Star. And Cancer, when I saw these three arrive together for you, I felt something soften in the air around this reading. This is the kind of trio that hints at healing, honesty, and long-term emotional restoration. So let's walk through each one carefully. Let's begin with Justice. Cancer, the Justice card is one of the most misunderstood cards in the deck because people often associate it strictly with legal matters or literal fairness. But Justice is actually a card about internal alignment. It's about integrity. It's about aligning your actions with your true beliefs, aligning your choices with your values, aligning your outer life with your inner truth. In your near future, Cancer, this card is telling me that you're being called into a period of internal accountability. This isn't harsh accountability. It's the compassionate kind. The kind where you gently look at your life and ask, am I honoring what I truly value? Am I making choices that reflect who I want to be? Am I being honest with myself about what I want and what I no longer want? Cancer, this is significant because you're often so focused on being fair to others that you can forget to be fair to yourself. You give others patience. You extend others grace. You offer others understanding, sometimes at the expense of your own needs. Justice is telling me that you're being invited to redirect some of that fairness inward. There's a psychological concept called self-integrity. It refers to the alignment between your values, actions, and identity. Research shows that self-integrity is one of the most protective psychological traits a person can develop. It contributes to reduced stress, improved decision-making, and stronger emotional health. Cancer, the Justice card is telling me your near future is going to invite you into a deeper level of self-integrity. And when this alignment strengthens inside you, the world around you will begin to reflect it. Relationships will shift, opportunities will shift, boundaries will shift, because everything begins with the truth you tell yourself. Here's a practical suggestion for the justice energy. In the next few weeks, take a quiet moment to ask yourself, what is one area of my life where I am not honoring my true values? Just one area. Not every corner of your life, just one. Because when you become honest about that one area, the ripple effect can transform everything. Now let's move to the Ten of Cups. And Cancer, this card is a gift. The Ten of Cups is the card of emotional fulfillment, of harmony, of the feeling of arrival that comes when your emotional life feels safe, warm, and whole. It's the card that shows up in a reading when someone is about to experience deep emotional satisfaction, whether through family, friendship, love, or personal peace. In your near future, this card is telling me that your emotional landscape is about to soften. You've been through enough, you've carried enough, you've integrated enough, and now something warm is coming into focus. This might look like reconnection with someone important. It might look like a moment of profound peace at home. It might look like a milestone in your relationships. It might look like a feeling of deep internal safety that you haven't experienced in a while. Cancer, whatever form it takes, the Ten of Cups is telling me that emotional fullness is coming into your life, and it's not going to be dramatic. It's going to be tender, almost quiet, but it will land in you unmistakably. There's a psychological concept called emotional saturation, but in the positive sense. It refers to the deep feeling of contentment that arises when a person's emotional needs are being met consistently over time. Research shows that this type of saturation is one of the strongest indicators of long-term happiness. The Ten of Cups is inviting you into this space, Cancer. And the beautiful thing is, you don't have to force it or chase it. It's already coming. You just have to remain open to receiving it. A practical suggestion for the Ten of Cups. Notice when small moments of joy arise, and instead of moving past them, allow yourself to soften into them for at least a few extra seconds. This tiny practice is how you invite the Ten of Cups energy deeper into your daily life. And now, our final card of this reading, the Star. Cancer, if there's one card that gets to have the final word today, it's this one, because the Star is a message of quiet, enduring hope. It's the card that shows up when a person is stepping into a new emotional dawn, when the storms of the past begin to soften into gentle light, when faith both in yourself and in the future begins to return. In your near future, the Star is telling me that your inner light is being restored, slowly, gently, patiently. Not because you forced it, but because the universe is bringing it back to you. And Cancer, this is something you deeply need, because you've been through a lot, you've carried a lot, you've held a lot. You've stayed strong through so many moments others didn't see. The Star is telling me that your near future is going to remind you of your own resilience, your own beauty, and your own long-term potential. There's a psychological concept called hope restoration. It refers to the process by which a person's inner belief in their future is repaired after periods of hardship. Research shows that hope restoration is one of the most profound emotional experiences a person can have, because it doesn't just improve your mood, it changes your entire orientation to life. The Star is telling me that hope restoration is entering your life in your near future, and it's going to feel like a soft, warm reminder of everything you have been quietly building toward. Cancer, this is the beginning of a much brighter chapter. Even if you can't see it yet, even if you're still catching your breath from what you've been through, even if you're still trying to trust the calmness that's arriving, the Star is telling me you're safe, you're supported, and you're stepping into a new season of alignment. A practical suggestion for the Star: when you feel a flicker of hope, no matter how small, don't dismiss it. Let it live in you for a moment. Let it grow. Because the Star doesn't arrive with fireworks, it arrives with light. So look at what these three cards are telling you together. Justice is calling you into deeper internal alignment. The Ten of Cups is inviting emotional fulfillment into your life, and the Star is restoring your long term hope. This is a beautiful, meaningful, healing closing to your reading, and it perfectly matches the emotional depth of what came before. So, when you tie everything together across all nine cards, the story of your near future looks like this: Cancer, your subconscious mind is stirring, something is rising to the surface. Something is asking to be understood. You're moving through a quiet emotional transition, leaving behind a version of your life that has been quietly draining you. You're being called to embody emotional mastery, wisdom, presence, and self awareness. Your external circumstances are shifting into greater congruence with who you are becoming. Your resilience is finally being honored. Your grounding presence is going to be called forward. You're being invited into deeper internal alignment. Your emotional life is about to soften into fullness, and your hope is being restored. Cancer, this is not just a good reading. This is a meaningful chapter of your life beginning to unfold. You've spent enough time under invisible weight, enough time carrying more than you needed to, enough time being strong without acknowledging the cost. Your near future is asking you to receive, to soften, to integrate, to align, and to trust. If you take one message from today's reading, let it be this: you are not entering a chapter of struggle. You are entering a chapter of integration and grace. The kind of season where the pieces of your life quietly begin to fit together in ways they haven't before. And Cancer, you deserve every moment of it. If this reading resonated with you today, I would love to hear from you. Drop the word alignment in the comments if you felt seen. It helps me know which energies are landing. And honestly, it helps to know we're walking through this together. If you found value in today's reading, consider subscribing for more readings like this one. Take care of your energy this week. Protect your peace. Stay rooted in who you are. And remember, Cancer, you are exactly where you need to be. Until next time.